Studio Me Productions is a full-service video production company based in Pittsburgh. It offers custom video production services, podcast studio rentals, and communication studio build-outs. Choosing Studio Me Productions means investing in a partnership that values creativity and delivers results that exceed expectations. With a deep understanding of marketing and storytelling, Studio Me ensures your project will captivate and engage your viewers. Learn more at studiomeproductions.com. That's studiomeproductions.com. A strong work culture is the invisible force that binds employees to each other, to the company, and to their work. It's linked to better business outcomes, happier employees, and increased retention. How we work and where we work continue to evolve in almost every way, yet our human need for connection and purpose remains. Help your employees connect and thrive by evolving your culture to support your team, regardless of how or where they work. So discover how the Kindling Culture Agency can transform your company's culture at sparksomething.big.com. That's the Kindling Culture Agency at sparksomething.big.com.
CompuNetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, CompuNetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com.
This is Tech Vibe Radio. It's your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. Tech Vibe is brought to you by the generous support of CompuNetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, the Kindling Culture Agency at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, Savior at savior.com, and Studio Me at studiomeproductions.com. Tech Vibe proudly broadcasts from the Huntington Bank Studios. Let's get the show on the road. Welcome to Tech Vibe. So happy to have you here hanging out with us today. This is the place where we give you a front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. And I'm Jonathan Kirsting. I'm with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. I get to have so much fun talking to our member companies about the stuff they're building, the problems they are solving. And one thing I'm seeing out there right now that I think is just so insane, I think everyone can agree on this, is the Wild West that is AI, artificial intelligence. We're just seeing it proliferate everywhere for really good reasons, but at the same time, we're seeing offices using it. There's no policies, there's liability, there's all types of crazy things that can really make things not so great with AI. But I have a great set of guests here today to talk about how we can unwind all of this and get ourselves on the right foot. And I'm talking about CUSTOS IQ. We have Isabelle and Rob Reagan hanging out with me today. Guys, I'm so happy to have you here in the Huntington Bank Studios. So much fun, so much fun. Thanks for being here.
Of course.
Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you, Huntington Bank.
Yeah, I can't do this without these guys. Simple as that. Before we jump into everything, first off, you're like the best spokeswoman for your company. Isabelle, tell me what CUSTOS is all about, because you do so much. It's more than just your help with AI with companies. You do a lot of stuff. Give me the pitch like we're riding in an elevator or someplace. I need to know more about you.
We're an offensive cybersecurity. We assess and manage risk for critical infrastructure and systems. We view cybersecurity holistically. So we're trying to turn cybersecurity from an IT problem into a business advantage, which means that with our decades of experience in IT, we deliver a full turnkey solution to your business, covering the engineering and securing of systems, the compliance aspect, the legal aspect. We're really more than a risk advisory firm. When we design a secure system, we not only engineer it, but we will also build it for you.
That's what I'm talking about. See, I learned so much. Rob, I'm glad you guys are hanging out together.
We're happy to be here. What we are is about managing digital assets. So You see a lot of companies who are just focused on the tech stack or some rule that they put in. We look at the whole business holistically and align the cybersecurity risk management to the business processes.
Yeah, I see so much of what you do. I see people bringing in 3 or 4 vendors sometimes, and you're trying to get them to all work together to be on the same page where you're the one organization that can really handle across what all the different needs are. So you don't have to worry about telling the other vendor what you've been working on, and no miscommunications going on as far as that is. So I think that's very unique to what you guys do because you do offer that complete coverage.
Yep.
We are all about delivering turnkey solutions, especially to medium-sized enterprises who a lot of times do not have all of that expertise in-house.
Yeah.
And the benefit, as you just said, when you do business with CUSTOS IQ is you don't bring in 5 or 6 different vendors. You have the one-stop shop.
Yeah, 100%. And so you're no stranger to Tech Vibe. It's always great to have you back on. And why I love having you come on is because, hey, not only do you bring your good vibes with you every single time, but you bring me great knowledge, which means you're bringing our listeners and our viewers great knowledge. And I started this whole show off talking about the Wild West of AI. I get a front row seat to it. You get more of you're in the trenches. I get the front row seat. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, there's some craziness going on out there. Rob, what is making it so wild, for lack of a better term?
The thing that makes it so wild is there are typically no policies that people have in place on the use of AI. We have familiarity with organizations that have adopted AI. They may have employees who are using their own personal accounts, people who may be using some company paid for accounts, maybe people who are using Copilot as an example that's integrated with Microsoft 365, but there's no attention being paid to the security that goes around the data that's being fed into these engines.
Yeah.
And what happens is there's also no review or qualification of the generation of the data that comes out of these engines, and people use them without considering, is this really what the company wants? People are typically hired because they have a certain expertise in an area, but a lot of times it's AI that's making the decisions and not the people who are involved.
See, that's where Wild West begins.
Correct.
And I think Gartner had a study recently that said, I think more than 60% of organizations just don't even have a strategy.
Correct.
Which once again go to the Wild West, right?
It's
like, oh man, please.
There's been a couple of interesting studies also that came out of Harvard that were talking about how people are using AI and how it's being implemented to just help them do very simple tasks, craft emails, review legal contracts. However, nobody knows exactly where that's gone. And a lot of times there's a lot of confidential company information that gets into those large language models. And how that's going to be used is depending on the level that you signed up for, as well as the legal contract that's been put in place for the service that you're using.
So you got to tell me more about the technology behind this. I think it's evolving so fast. That's creating some of these problems as to why people aren't putting plans together. People are just using it randomly. You see a new model and you want to try it for something, so you get a free account real fast, but you're using it for business. And then all of a sudden, that's part of your stack and you don't even know it's part of your stack at work, right? Is that something that you're seeing happening? Okay.
We get brought in by organizations of various levels of size to craft internal AI policies. For some organizations, they're not only using AI for their daily day-to-day tasks, they're now using AI in oil and gas for predictive valve maintenance, in manufacturing for the OT, IT conversions for sensor maintenance. And it can get pretty serious. So especially with AI for predictive valve maintenance, oil and gas, the pipeline could blow.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's why it gets real serious real fast if there's vulnerabilities. So the idea right now, the whole Wild West for me is around the fact that this is making things more, or should I say, less secure. I feel like now you're probably seeing a couple different things happening in the marketplace right now. You're probably running into some companies that maybe been using AI for the past couple of years off and on without an official policy. They know they're using it, but they feel like they can see some dangers. So they want to call you in to kind of help create a nice landscape where they can actually thrive and use this as a tool for good. And then you're probably seeing the other end where you have someone who's just starting out and just has no clue what's going on. So I hope they do this before they really get started. I feel like this is foundational, just like your cybersecurity or anything with your business. This is the way you run your business to help us build this platform so we can use it properly and know it's being used securely and so forth. Is that my
Well,
brain in the right direction there?
absolutely. And I think that the key point is that it just is not all about AI.
Okay.
It is really about your company's foundation in cybersecurity.
Yes.
This goes well beyond the IT department.
That's interesting hearing that. So the idea that cyber is really underpinning all of this, because that's really what it comes down to.
That's correct.
Okay.
Before you were securing your workstation, you were trying to stop viruses from getting in. You were trying to look for ways to make sure that you could detect viruses that got into a workstation. But now we're starting to talk about data. We're talking about how your data is tagged, and a lot of organizations do not have their data tagged. So there are certain pieces of information that you don't want to leave the organization. As I say, it's your intellectual property.
It's your stuff. It's what makes you you. And you can't just make sure anyone gets their hands on it.
It's what you're selling, right?
Right.
And you wouldn't turn that over to a competitor, but a lot of people will turn that over to AI.
You say it's like relaxed as well too, because it's absolutely.
Well, we see it all the time.
I know.
And it's crazy. And there's all sorts of different implications that go on with that, from, oh, my IP's now out on the internet and my competition can go pull it up in ChatGPT or Copilot or whatever. There's also the issue of that these large language models have recently had some very serious hacks done to them.
I haven't heard about that.
Isabelle can talk
Yeah, tell me. So we were talking about LLMs being hacked now.
Yeah.
It's like, once again, a new target for people that completely,
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So tell me, please, Izzy, you know this stuff.
So in our two biggest fields, which is energy and manufacturing, so the biggest attack surface that we see with AI is either model poisoning or data accuracy. So either an attacker is going to reframe questioning and reposition questioning so many times until they have been able to poison a model and they can then extract the data out of it. This recently happened with one of the very well-known LLMs that I'm not going to mention here, but they were able to gain privilege escalation into the model. They wrote a Python script and they were able to extract 200 million tax returns out of a government agency that was using this AI model to enumerate these tax returns.
Oh my goodness. See, that's the type of thing when I hear that, it's like, yeah.
And then in energy or in manufacturing, what we're also seeing is for this predictive maintenance that people are trying to utilize for their sensors where it's applicable. If your data isn't right and the data is being targeted and it's being destroyed or it's wrong, and then it gets fed into these AI powered sensors, predictive maintenance could be off. You could be wasting a lot of time. In the case of oil and gas, for valve, for lack of a better word, a pipeline could blow up.
Exactly right. Yeah. No,
So for a lot of people, what we're really recommending is saying, hey, use this as a tool, but you are still the technician and you still need to practice the oversight over this.
I love you saying that, because I've been hearing that a lot too. And I think it's important for us to keep talking about this, is the fact that, yes, any level of AI is interesting and fun, but at the end of the day, you as the human makes the final decision and has the full control. You just can't leave it carte blanche and just let it think everything's going to be fine because of it. That really it's a tool for a human, not a replacement.
What you have is a typical case.
Yeah.
Dates back from the very first eons of bits flying into computers.
Okay. Yeah.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's like a great bumper sticker I could put on my car.
Exactly. But just because it's a new piece of technology, there are a lot of rules that still apply.
Okay.
And it really takes an intelligent user and somebody who can critically think. I will freely admit we use AI and a lot of times to solve technical problems. And we were on a case with a situation that we had, and Isabelle here was cranking it through, trying to get the answers. How can we fix this really quick? And finally, it came back with an answer that said, open a Microsoft support case.
The funny ending to that story is 5 minutes later, I just figured it out myself.
I would look at it like by doing all that prompting back and forth, breaking AI, it made the gears in your brain turn there, Isabelle. Humans still solve it.
But it's fascinating to see. And a lot of the information that this whole chat was producing was woefully wrong. However, if you don't know this because of your experience, you would be off in the weeds and probably making things 1,000 times worse.
Oh, absolutely.
It was quite a fascinating exercise. to go through. And it was funny. And our particular problem that we had was related to a TPM key. And the TPM,
What's a TPM key?
I knew you were going to ask.
I need to know these things. I'm here to be educated.
The TPM key is a key that's built into either a virtual machine or a physical piece of hardware that keeps the device secure.
Okay.
And I won't go into any more of the gory details on this particular situation, but we ran into an issue with a system that crashed, and the TPM keys were related to the old system and not in the new system.
Okay.
And the machines weren't behaving properly.
I would imagine there'd be a little mutiny going on at that point.
Yeah. But it's a prime example of how you really can't rely on AI 100%.
Exactly.
You still need people who are experienced and someone to watch the AI, if you will.
Exactly.
Aside from the security perspective. So we're talking about practical use within a business, information, data, but then you get down to the security aspects of this. So you want to start watching the prompts. There can be prompt hijacks. There can be lots of different things that can happen just in interaction with the ChatGPT model, Copilot, whatever it is. And one of the other attack surfaces is really your browser, because a lot of people are interacting with this stuff via the browser.
Everything, I would say it has.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably 90% of the use cases. You're on your browser using this. So, of course, that's the easiest thing for folks to hack. So once they're in there, they can...
Unpatched browsers are a big risk. And we talk to people about, how often have you patched the 0 days in your browser? And they look at us like,
what are you talking about? If you ask me that, I'd be like, I don't know, you tell me.
We are Martians from Mars.
Exactly right. So tell me a little bit about how you work with a company as they bring you on to maybe just set the ground rules and kind of get a good foundation running.
So actually, the majority of cases where we've now been brought in, and I think a lot of people are not aware of this yet, but a lot of the bigger players in the market are now starting to crack down on their supply chain when it comes to...
That makes a lot of sense. Interesting.
They're now requesting additional information from their vendors.
Okay.
And the vendors are now like, maybe we all need to hit the pause button here real quick and see what we're doing before we could get into trouble down the road.
That makes 100% sense, yes.
So what we deliver to organizations is, as we mentioned earlier, the turnkey solution, where we walk in, we assess how AI is being used, we assess the security practices, and we provide them with a comprehensive internal policy that will not only cover the security and the AI use aspects of it, but also the compliance and legal aspects if there are any.
Yeah. Once again, that goes back to when we were originally talking, the idea, that sounds like something you could call in a couple different places to do. And people often do, but the idea that you can do that through one engagement, I think is just really effective and probably saves a ton of time and just keeps things
well, you at least then have cohesive knowledge.
Yeah.
And people who have the expertise to deliver the end result.
Exactly.
As opposed to 5 or 6 different teams of people who maybe dabble in this or that.
Right. You're bringing the whole thing to the table, which is really cool. One thing I think has been so much fun watching you guys over the years is we talked about various topics around cybersecurity. The last time we talked about phishing and some things like that. This whole thing we've been talking about today, I feel like has really risen in the past 18 months or so.
Yeah.
People have really just doubled down on all things AI. So it's got to be really exciting to see this come in and you got the technology and the answers behind this to be helpful. I think that's got to be a lot of fun to be riding this wave and keeping people and companies and their data safe while this all kind of transpires.
It certainly is a great time to be involved with security. And one of the biggest issues that organizations really have to come to terms with is that they can't disregard this.
Yeah. And that's something that I've always talked about with you guys, but just with cybersecurity in general has always been, this isn't like something that you think you want to do or you'll get to it. It's just part of how you do business, right? You have to have the cybersecurity stuff and policies in place, which once again underpins anything you're going to be doing with AI on top of that.
Yep.
I'm also curious about some of the other things that CUSTOS does, because you were mentioning earlier, you get some customers that are like in the energy space. It's got to be so much fun to be in the manufacturing space, which I think is just so crucial to Pittsburgh and what we have traditionally done. Tell me more.
Yeah. Right now, we're especially with the conventional natural oil and gas producers here in Western Pennsylvania. A lot of them are now getting their feet into producing energy for data centers.
Yes.
So we are now getting involved in that aspect, which is super cool. We get to play with a lot of the OT and IT conversions, so in deploying SCADA systems. securing networks, building DMZs. We're really big champions of that industry, and we think it's awesome that this is coming together for Western Pennsylvania.
Absolutely.
It's just Pennsylvania in general. The state really has a great opportunity with the natural resources that we have here, and that we have producers that can actually jump on the bandwagon. And a lot of them are also not just data centers. That's the big hot tip these days, but there are a lot of people who are investing in generators that are natural gas powered to help conquer the deficit of power that we have.
I have learned so much. It's why I love hanging out with you. I encourage everybody to go to CUSTOSIQ.com. Your website's fantastic. It really ratchets out all the services you have. It goes over a lot of what we talked about today, which to me is just key stuff. It's so much fun hanging out with you guys as well at the Huntington Bank Studios here. So much fun. Cannot wait to have you guys back on because there's always something changing in this field. And I like saying attack surface. So once again, thanks guys for hanging out with me.
No, thank you. We appreciate you and the Tech Council.
Oh.
And thank you, Huntington Bank, for this wonderful space.
Man, they're going to love you guys. Man. Simple as that. In case you forgot, this is Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks for geeking out with us on Tech Vibe Radio. Tune in next Sunday for more tech and innovation stories right here from Pittsburgh. Get Tech Vibe wherever you get your podcasts and never miss a show. Tech Vibe is brought to you by the generous support of Compunetics at Compunetics.com, Chorus Call at ChorusCall.com, Highmark at Highmark.com, Huntington Bank at Huntington.com, the Kindling Culture Agency at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at PNC.com, Savior at Savior.com, and Studio Me at StudioMeProductions.com. Tech Vibe proudly broadcasts from the Huntington Bank Studios.